All right, let's get you ready for the WordPress quiz. It's based in a language called PHP. So this is an application language, whereas we've been learning a front-end language like HTML and CSS. That's a visual language. It shows you things. PHP is keeps track of data and it keeps your account and does things and processes orders. You know, it's the application layer. And we're going to use the software and not program it. And that's how I can keep this course doing big advanced things while only teaching you this front end stuff because we're going to use prefabricated software. So I need to show you around this software and let you get an idea on how to build stuff with it. When we log in, we see the back end of the website. I like to try to keep one tab showing the back end, and I'll open the link in another tab, and I'll have one looking at the front end. You've got to know that WordPress started out as blogging software. So it all started around this idea of making posts and that you could edit your posts and they had certain properties. And then people added on pages. So now you could have the same page and it would work a little bit differently than a set of posts. And then now you can add courses now too if you get a certain extra software, and you can expand and products now you can sell things. And so but it all started off with the idea of creating an item called a post, and then uh, we replicated that same item and continued down the line with more and more different types. Editing a page on one site is basically the same thing as editing a post on another. We just call them different things, and because of that, we can treat them differently. We can have a blog section that lists all of the posts, and the pages are instead just linked up using navigation up at the top. And so we just treat them differently. Now there are some different things on our sidebar here inside the back end of the website. Um, so one of them is, for example, inside appearance, we have widgets. So this is something that's a little different. Widget areas, depending on what type of theme and other types of plugins that you have, which I'll talk about in a minute, um, you'll have different widget areas. You can drag and drop little tools, um, some that have links and information, some that have little tools that let you log in, some that have a Twitter feed. And so this forms the sidebar in many of my websites. But you can also use it in the footer and and scattered around on a page as well, if you really want to, but you don't see that too often. Now let's talk about different types of editors. So right here should look pretty familiar to you. This is just HTML. So right here is just a block of HTML text that you can insert directly, and you can see the image that I put on and the text that I have. And um, it's all just very simple. And so this is the base layer. When you're editing a post, you can see this layer of HTML as well by selecting this tab. But you can also switch to a visual editor, and this just looks like very similar to Microsoft Word or Google Doc. You just select the type of font, the line of text, and then you can make it different headings, um, and also switch it back to normal paragraph. Uh, if you want to make a link, you just highlight a piece of text and then press the link button. It's all pretty simple stuff here. So this is a simple visual editor that's baked into WordPress. But things get crazy because all sorts of plugins and themes exist that stack on top of this. So now you can start to see all sorts of boxes around here that I've been adding on that give me a lot of extra options. One of the most popular is a plugin called Visual Editor. And now I have a whole new interface that gives me a lot more tools on animation options and other really fancy things, and it's so easy to set up. If I want to add something, I can just press the plus, and it gives me all of these really powerful tools. If I want to add a widget area, I can just create use one of my widget areas that I showed you before that has like a Twitter feed. I can just drop that in, and that would be that simple. There's all sorts of just very convenient things that allow me to do and add powerful features without having to do much work at all. And all of that comes in right here in plugins. And so plugins really drive this expansion of WordPress's features. And so there's a lot of very important ones that I do need to familiarize you with. Almost every WordPress instance, whether every WordPress site, so this site or this site, they all have some sort of slider plugin. And so this is important. That helps make this very pretty slider. That has a very important impact. So almost all of my projects, you don't need one, obviously. You can have no picture at all. You can have just, you can hand program in a picture. There's all sorts of ways without having a plugin. But every WordPress project I work on, I always make sure that it has either layer slider or revolution slider, which is somewhere around here. And you should also know what WooCommerce is. WooCommerce is a plugin that adds on products. And so this builds in a new type of item into WordPress that allows you to sell things. And this is where I can connect my PayPal account, and now people can start selling things and paying me directly on over PayPal. PayPal is going to take a percentage of my profits, obviously, but you can, as you get more advanced and make more sales, you can try to get to a more competitive merchant like Stripe, or there are other competitors that can try to uh, let you save on some of the profits that you're making. Last plugin I need to mention is AskNet. I've never learned how the proper way to say that, but this is a security plugin is absolutely required. WordPress sites can be found by automated scripts that are scouring the internet, and they will target a WordPress site and automatically attack it in a number of different ways, with spam messages that flood your inbox, that take over your website, by bots trying all of the default admin passwords. It's horrendous, and so you need protection on a website, otherwise it's just going to be taken down. And also, to review once again, there is a text editor, there's a visual editor, and if you get one of the plugins that we've been talking about, you can get a more advanced editor, like this one is actually called Unison, but there's also others like the visual editor that we just looked at. I'm sorry, it's called Visual Composer. Sorry, I was spacing on the name. Now I've got to talk about themes real quickly. So normally we always have a theme and then a child theme that sits on top of that. And this is so important because as you make changes to a theme, when it has to update, the new files can overwrite all of your changes. That way, if you have the theme sitting on top of this one, this has almost no important files. It just has the customizations that I've made. And so when this one gets updated, my changes are still being pointed at this base theme. So that's one way to do it. I am not doing this on my lancertech.io website at the moment. I just have a parent theme because I'm not making changes to this one through the CSS editor right here. So I have down here, you can see, I could just change my CSS file right here, but I'm not doing that. Instead, I have my CSS saved right here in custom CSS. So I'm actually keeping my custom CSS file in a plugin rather than a child theme. The important thing that you need to understand is that your custom CSS changes that you use to tweak the site um, reside in somewhere other than your core theme, because that core theme gets replaced as updates come out. But you won't have to use CSS all that often because most sites come with these really fancy control panels, and so you'll get a new item, a new option added to appearance, or sometimes it's just sitting out on its own item, like in this theme. The theme can vary depending on how they programmed it, but usually there are some great options that make setting colors and setting your typography very simple and convenient. And the last concept I need to touch on is Kanban boards. A Kanban is actually a Japanese term. It's taken, I mean, there's such a really strong culture around optimization and lean manufacturing. It's really cool, and that has a big influence on programming and computer science, but I'm not going to get into that. What you need to know is that we set up tasks as these little cards that we can drag and drop. We can actually we can also just use post-it notes, and that's where it really starts. You just list a bunch of post-it notes of things I need to do. It needs to be a short little task, as chunked down, as small as you can get it. Sometimes it's not that convenient. We do have like a large, broad topic, but we try to get it as narrow as possible. I can unfilter this so I can see everyone else's group. And so we'll list all of the items that we need to do. When you're working on some, you drag it in progress, and you select your name and let people know you're working on it. And so you can assign yourself to this. Uh, One of these is change members. Yeah, so you assign yourself to the task. Adding notes is critical because you can comment here, and that way if someone else needs to finish this task, they can see where you left off. Or if I'm trying to grade your work, I can see what you did in order to complete the task. And then if you need help on something, you just drop it in there, and I'll read your comments and get back to you on that. And if you think you're done, you drop it in completed, and I'll check it over, and then I can archive it. So that's how a Kanban board works, and now you're ready for the quiz.